Welcome to Ormond Beach, everybody. Another edition of Grassroots Motorsports Live. GRM Live, where the R stands for rats, the adorable little creatures currently infesting our shop. We've got most of them out of here. They won't be bothering you tonight because you're watching on the internet. Ladies and gentlemen, Grassroots Motorsports Live is brought to you by CRC Industries, by Coney Shocks, by Autobooks, Aerobooks. We've got a very special guest we're going to be bringing on in just a few minutes tonight. Mark from AMT Motorsports. Before we get into that, though, let's welcome everybody who's out there watching. I see a lot of our regulars joining us already. Dinesh is on, and Alex and Steve, and a lot of our Corvette friends, because we are doing Corvette stuff once again tonight. For any of you that might be joining us for the first time, I know what you're saying. You're out there saying, my God, I didn't know George Clooney was hosting an internet car show now. And to that, I would say, no. I get that a lot. My name is JG Pasterjack, and I will be your host this evening as we bring you content right from the pages of Grassroots Motorsports Magazine. And the rest of you are saying, okay, Clooney's lying to us, and he's really let himself go, and this is very sad. Hang in there, folks. We got a great show coming up. Before we get to that, though, let me thank everybody that requested free stickers from us last week. We'll be giving away more free stickers this week coming up later on in the show. Also be giving away stuff from CRC Industries and talking about cool stuff going on with this Corvette. Before we get to the main part of the show, let me remind everybody that you can check out our patrons, our sponsors, the folks that make this show possible. crcindustries.com. You can check them out for all of your automotive chemical needs. You can check out autobooks-aerobooks.com for any book, magazine, or DVD about cars you possibly could want to imagine to order. And you can check out coney-na.com for all of your shock absorber needs. We've got a great tech tip coming up from Coney in the middle of the show. Let's get to it because we got a lot of stuff to get to tonight. Let's bring on Mark Petronis from AMT Motorsports. Welcome to Florida, my friend.
Happy to be where
yeah, and no stranger to Florida, a Miami University attendee back in the day.
That's right.
Now running your own company, manufacturing amazing motorsports bits up in New York. Mm-hmm. And actually started out as a manufacturer for the aerospace industry, manufacturing really super high tolerance, cool stuff, and adapted that to Corvettes. How did that happen? You were racing a Corvette and just needed better stuff than you could find?
Exactly. We're racing a Corvette. Someone's got to figure out a way to pay for the racing business. So we had the CNC thing going on. We said, hey, I am buying these parts that I can be making better versions of. So rather than buying some of the junk that was out there, I said I can do a better job than that. So we started making the parts, started testing them on the car, and said, for 2 years of testing, let's get these things on the market and see if we can sell some. So,
and I've actually looked at your business website. When you say you had a manufacturing business, you're not just some CNC shop banging out keychains or something.
Right.
You're actually making stuff that's going into space here,
right,
fairly soon.
Right. You keep saying had. We still have the CNC business. Right. The CNC business is still there, and we started AMT Motorsport as an addition to it. But yeah, we do a lot of prototypes for the military or a medical industry.
The American military.
The American military,
okay.
Of course. What other military would there be? Yeah,
there's probably others with
American
just as big of checkbooks.
Just the Americans. GE's our biggest customer. We do a lot of rigs we build for them to test gas turbines and things like that. So
obviously, really, really high precision, high tolerance stuff that demands a lot of precision. So let's take a look at some of the stuff, and then let's take a look at some of the problems we're solving on our car. Actually, let's first look at the main problem we're solving on this car, and that is this is a loose version of your monoball control arm bushings. And if we look at this is a stock control arm.
That's right.
Off the Corvette. We got this from Rock Auto. These are the stock bushings. And I was shocked, actually, to see how soft these stock bushings are. If you just take a punch and throw it in there, look at the amount of deflection you can get. I'm putting 20 or 30 pounds of force on that, and we're getting, what, a 1/16 of an inch of deflection?
You don't want that in your race car.
No.
You don't want that.
So 3,000-pound car in a corner at 1G, you're putting a ton and a half of force into these bushings that are deflecting under 30 or 40 pounds of force. So you're solving that problem with these. So tell us about that. I could let that sit on my desk actually. And
Yeah,
I'd
so
be perfectly
we
happy.
set this down because we wanted to show the whole the manufacturing process of how these things actually work. So what you're basically seeing here would be this rubber section. So this whole rubber section and control arm is being replaced with this with this aluminum housing. We machine that to a tight tolerance. We shrink fit that into the bores. That goes in. Then this bearing, which is a radial RWT10, which is probably one of the best bearings you can buy, that then gets pressed into this fitting here. They're not pressed in this case because we're just trying to show an example here. That thing gets snap ringed in. It's all shrunk in, and then these aluminum ears space the control arm in the cradle, and now everything's rock solid. Bearing moves very freely. There's no deflection in your bushings, and you've got yourself a race car at that point.
So we're getting rid of some hysteresis that might be in the suspension, some tension that could be built up there already. We're getting rid of any of that unnecessary deflection. We're controlling the direction of the deflection. There's going to be some trade-offs for somebody driving the car on the street, I would imagine, because those bushings exist to kill NVH.
Yeah.
So I really haven't. I've only driven this thing up and down the driveway at this point. It feels great up and down the driveway, but long term, how long are these going to last me? Am I going to have to look at servicing these
You should.
in the off season?
The parts that we make, we guarantee these things for life. So,
Oh, wow.
And I've crashed. I haven't crashed. My friend crashed my car at Watkins Glen into a wall with all of our parts on them. We replaced the whole front end of the car, took the same exact control arms, put it back in the car. So the stuff that we make is guaranteed for life. Anybody that buys our stuff. These bearings, we guarantee these for 5 years. No other manufacturer is going to guarantee their bearings and their monoballs, but we do. We buy the best. We stand by them. So if anything needs to be serviced within 5 years, we'll take care of you, but I expect them to last much, much, much longer than that.
And is there, in the meantime, is there any service they're going to require at all?
Nope. They have a Teflon lining in them. It's a PTFE lining. Again, these guys are 100% made in Connecticut. These are aerospace-grade bearings as well. So service is not what they're going to be needing. No grease, no nothing like that.
Okay, and so we actually have a video of your process here. We'll get to in a second and show folks what you go through to actually produce them. But in the meantime, let's look at a couple other things you sent down, because everything you make is just industrial art, and I really dig it. This is actually one of my favorite things because it's so simple and it's so effective. Start explaining that. Let me go grab the stock camber bolts.
This is a camber kit. So the Corvette adjusts the control arms with round, which JG's going to go grab, round eccentric bushings, which are prone to slipping. I have a video on my website of me almost driving the car into a wall at Lime Rock when one of these things suddenly lets go. So after that happened, that was the last time I said, okay, I'm not going to run with those in the car anymore. A lot of guys do sell a camber kit. It's just a plate with a hole in it. We made an octagonal shape, so at least you have some adjustment there, but it still locks in place. So we've got actually 10 levels of adjustment between the shape and the two holes that are in there.
And we're going to put these on later, so we'll show folks how they work. Here's one thing that I really dig about them, and I actually noticed this when I was installing the other side. So if you measure these out, if you look at the distance between the center line of this bolt and the edge, and the center line of this bolt and the edge in the most aggressive position, your kit is actually closer to the edge, which means more camber.
Yeah.
And what we're finding with these cars is they do like a lot of camber, especially in the front, and in the back you can barely get enough camber, and I've actually had to back yours down a little bit from the maximum settings in the back.
Most people are not, or they're happy with the amount of extra negative camber they can achieve with our kit.
Yeah. So it's
a little bonus.
It's an extra. I think I actually measured it out. It's an extra about 0.3 of a degree than what you can get with the stock bolts. Now, somebody running in a street autocross class, or a more stock class, probably doesn't have access to these. But nearly everybody else, this is a hardware part that if you're driving a street-prepared autocross car, if you're driving something in any class that allows even a little bit of modification, absolutely simple, fantastic way to get more camber. And you can see right there, you've got flat detents. They're not going to let this thing. If this thing rotates, you've got way bigger problems.
Something worse happens. Yeah.
And these are actually the stock ones, fairly prone to slipping. So how much is this going to set me back?
$345.
And that's
for the kit. Yeah.
But that's your one and done. You're never going to have to replace.
I haven't changed my alignment in 3 years on that car after running these things. It's been crashed into a wall, and it's still running the same eccentric bolts. Everything's good to go.
The other thing I dig about these is if you do take the car apart, you know you're putting it back together in the exact same position it came apart. I mean, these are numbered.
Yep.
They're
You don't need any yellow
segmented.
pens. I mean, everything's marked with a T or an S for street or track.
Yeah.
Different number settings. Just remember you're in T2, and then put it back in T2 every time you take the car apart.
And the other thing I like about it too is you were classy enough to throw in some of these Nordlock washers.
We try. We're a classy organization.
I am a committed fan of Nordlock washers. Let's see. So Eddie wants to know, do you have any parts for an 08 335i? I don't think you have any parts for those, but are you making? You're doing C5, C6, some C7 Corvette.
We're going into some more universal stuff. I mean, but my focus has always been Corvette, so I'm not trying to be making everything for everybody. I know Corvettes. I race a Corvette. I mean, that's where our focus is. So I'm trying to do the best stuff we can for the Corvettes. We're coming up with some universal products. We have a really badass universal camera mat that's coming out soon. If you want to go to amtmotorsport.com, sign up for our website. We can keep you appraised of all new stuff coming, but focusing on Corvette for the time being.
And we're going to throw folks a discount code later.
Yeah.
On
If you go to the
in
website,
show too.
you want to type in the
No.
Oh!
Not yet.
No.
Save it.
Do it live.
You got to stick around. All right. I actually brought out some of these wheel adapters. Exactly. So these are some wheel spacers we were using to space
the wheels.
wheels. And so this is the kid that shows up to the BMX race and the Huffy he got from Walmart and thinking he's cool.
Hey.
And this is what the actual cool kids have. But here's why I dig this. This is a wheel spacer is essentially a fancy washer. And you've taken the time to actually design this thing. So what is going? This is hub centric. It looks like.
Yep, it's definitely hub centric. I mean, the bolt patterns are kept super tight tolerances. Things aren't going to roll around or rattle around on your ARP studs or whatever. Only reason these cutouts are here for weight. I said, hey, we're making performance stuff. We're catering to race cars, track cars. We care about every pound. So cutting these holes in there saves about 3/4 of a pound. So yeah, it takes extra time, but we thought it was worth doing to do it right.
And that's why I just looking over the stuff you sent and the stuff we're previewing here. I dig the fact that you've taken simple concepts, applied some knowledge to them, both in the engineering and the manufacturing process, and made something really impressive out of something that would otherwise be very simple. We've actually showed that, like, okay, there are problems to be solved even in a glorified washer. Show me the seat stuff, because as much as I love the seats, if you guys tuned in last week, you saw us recover our stock seats. They're great, they're comfortable. They are still not up to the performance level of the car. So at some point, we're going to be adding a race seat to this car. And it's kind of a narrow car. It's also kind of a car that the seat sits a little bit tall off the floor. So
yeah, just about anybody that gets in a Corvette is going to have a headroom problem. I have a headroom problem, so we aptly called this the ultra low mount. So a couple things that make it kind of cool is that we not even countersink, but sink in all these hex nuts, so you don't have to worry about clearance with the side of your seat. It also makes it a little bit easier to install. You don't have to worry about 2 different wrenches on the thing. And if you go to our website, you can see we have a Sparco seat, but it touches this bracket. So the only way you can get this thing, your seat lower in the car, would be to cut the bottom of your floor out and drop these things down. So I'm very confident this is the lowest option to get on the market to get your seat as low as possible.
And we heard from some of the folks that are running these in spec Corvettes. Yeah, John Wynn, they are running these in their NASA spec Corvettes out west, and absolutely loving them. And that's one of the things, as we sort of research seats that we want to go in this thing, and seats that will fit. Part of the problem we're having is how do we get that thing low enough to the floor? And actually, there's a link that we found that you're involved in a really informative thread on Corvette Forum about what race seats fit in C5 Corvettes. So we'll throw up a link to that. If you're searching for a race seat for a C5 Corvette, there's actually a bunch of people with actual experience installing these things.
It's a problem. You don't generally want to be the first guy to try and shoehorn some big race seat into a Corvette, because they often don't fit.
Because while you have a nice flat floor in there, you've got a big door panel that comes out. You've got a very intrusive center console. So there are some issues getting the thing in there. All right, I think we are caught up on questions. I want to give people a look at how you actually put these bearing kits together. So to do this, we sent you our arms, pulled them off the car the day after an event, sent them up to you in New York, and then you get them and actually essentially assemble these things by hand. So let's Chris, head over here, and we'll get this video queued up of how these go together. Okay, so you start by pulling them out of the box.
Yeah, everything comes out of the box from the customer. We inspect everything, make sure everything is good. We tag all the arms because we got a lot of arms coming and going. The bushings get pressed out on our press, which we don't recommend you guys do that yourselves because sometimes you'll burn them out, which makes a mess. Or if you try and use opposing nuts, you can actually spread the control arms apart, which is a problem. So we've got all the fixtures and tools in the press to do that and make life easy for everybody.
Press the ball joints out.
Ball joints coming out.
And we actually found some interesting math on the ball joints that we'll share with everybody after this.
We bead blast everything, so this is up in our booth. You can see on the left side there as of right now is all nasty and ugly, and you can see the right side that we're making those all shiny and beautiful. So I don't know, track guys might not care so much about it, but it looks pretty. We bore all the hones in there so we can knock down all the burrs. We make sure they're pretty round. We then measure all those bores because we're going to be custom machining every housing that goes in those things. So we were trying to make them perfect.
Oh, so you are matching the housing
Yeah.
to the arms.
Mm-hmm.
How much variation do you find in those arms?
Up to 5,000.
Oh wow. Okay, so
Yeah.
you have to custom.
Yep. So we heat them all up. At this point, we've already custom turned those housings that go in there. So here we are applying some heat to them. We try and keep the tolerance within maybe 1.5 or 2,000, so they don't need to get these things super hot. We drop that housing in. This is us squishing in our radial bearing in that arm there. Very simple process, but again, tight tolerance to keep those bearings all working exactly how they should with the proper tolerances and clearances. There'll never be any bearings spinning in any of our housings. We make sure that tolerances get real tight. We snap ring everything in, obviously.
This is our snap ring montage, and
Real exciting stuff.
No, I'm very impressed. One take on all of these snap rings. So
Super good at snap rings.
Yeah, I bet. So yeah, there is a snap ring montage.
These are our trunnions that we machined from 17-4P8. So these are the upper trunnions for the C5, but also the rears for the C6 and C7s.
More snap rings.
Also use trunnions, more snap rings, of course. We made these fixtures to test fit everything, which is probably the thing I'm the most proudest of. Nothing leaves our shop before we put it on a fixture and make sure it fits. So when it gets to your car, you're not worrying about, oh gosh, what happens if the thing doesn't fit? There's no grinding, there's no dremeling, there's no filing. Well, it just fits.
Yeah, and that was one of the things we noticed as we were putting this stuff together is these things went in easier than the stock arms came out. I mean, they just slid right up into place, and you just drop the bolts.
Doesn't happen by accident. We spend a lot of time. There may be instances where we actually have to machine this face because the aftermarket control arm you sent was bent by a 1/16 of an inch, which doesn't sound like a lot, and it's not a lot with a rubber bushing. But when you go to all metal, there's no clearance, there's no deflection, so it has to be perfect. So we make them perfect.
So that's and I did not realize that you were custom machining each one of these setups. So I know you accelerated the process a little bit for us because we were on a deadline and you wanted to come down and be part of the finishing up process. But if you're not Grassroots Motorsports Magazine,
If you don't wield that mighty axe.
yes, the mighty axe of media. What's turnaround time for this?
I generally say 2 to 3 weeks. 2 to 3 weeks is about what you can expect. By the time you ship us your arms and I ship them back to you, you're looking at 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay, and what? 20
And if someone's got a rush, I mean, we have arms in stock. We can do swaps. We've done things where a customer will actually buy a whole new set of control arms, send them to us. We'll put them on, send them out. He ships me back, and I give him a court charge for the arms.
And for
so
a complete set of bushings, so we're talking 16 bushings between the whole car. What's that going to run me?
2,500.
And with the amount of labor, I mean, parts alone, you're looking at some coin, but the labor that goes into that.
When we first started doing this thing, I didn't know how I was going to possibly make any money. When I did my own car, we literally sat there for 3 weeks to plan this whole thing, machine all these things. I mean, there was a lot of time that went into it to try and do it from scratch. But yeah, now we got everything sitting. We got these sitting on a shelf somewhere. So when your arms come in, we measure, we machine these. We got fixtures for everything. So we've sped the process up. But yeah, it's labor intensive.
So what are you hearing from competitors? I know there's several dozen competitors out there that have these things. What kind of feedback are you getting from them? Are people surprised? Are they impressed? What's your And has any of that feedback sort of led to production changes, or did you kind of nail it the first time?
No, well, I mean, because I've been running these for 2 years on my car. We've made some changes to make things better. I mean, there's other products out there which don't, maybe you get them and they don't fit on your car. So we said, okay, how can we make sure we don't have that problem? That's where we came up with the fixtures. We can adjust our ears to fit cradles as necessary, and we custom machine them. But I guess feedback from problems we saw within the industry. That's what came back to us, and that's why we developed this product.
Very cool. All right, we are going to take a little break here to pay some bills, but we're going to pay some bills in a very cool way. We've got a neat tech tip coming up from Coney in just a second, and talk about some of the other folks that support this show. When we come back on the other side of that, we're actually going to finish up the installing the final control arm into our C5 Corvette. At that point, it'll be done. Tomorrow, it's going on the trailer. We're heading to Charlotte for the very first Optima Drive Auto X event. Actually, Mark, you can assist me with this.
Yeah.
So we had somebody. CRC has been a supporter of this show since this show had supporters. We are very, very proud and honored to have them aboard as one of our sponsors. Somebody asked me a couple weeks ago, hey, give us some more tech tips related to CRC stuff. Show us what it does. I got a cool little demo I want to do for everybody. This is a question we actually get asked quite a bit. CRC sells carb cleaner. They sell mass airflow sensor cleaner. What is the difference? Do you know the difference, Mark?
I have mass airflow cleaner. I don't have carb cleaner.
Okay,
I blow that stuff in my mass airflow sensor.
That's probably good. So here is an easy demonstration that we can do to show people some of the biggest differences between mass airflow sensor and carb cleaner. One of the biggest differences is mass airflow sensor is plastic safe. So what we're going to do here is we are going to spray a little bit of mass airflow sensor.
Super exciting.
It is super exciting.
Science.
Okay, you hold that.
Okay.
I'll hold this one.
It's gonna burn right through your cup.
You're giving away the show, man.
That's all right.
We don't know what's gonna happen. So
We're not gonna drink it, are we?
no.
All right.
We'll hold that towel there. So this is carb cleaner in here. That's mass airflow sensor in there in a couple of polystyrene cups. The reason there is a difference. The reason there is something called carb cleaner, something called mass airflow cleaner is you're cleaning a carb. You're normally cleaning something that is made from brass, aluminum, steel, mostly metal. Modern mass airflow sensor has a lot of plastic bits in it, a lot of phenolic bits, a lot of petroleum-based bits. The whole point of this stuff is to dissolve petroleum-based products, and in a few moments we will see that carb cleaner start to dissolve through here. Hopefully, I'll keep filling till it does. Actually,
Something bad's gonna happen.
But yeah, so that's basically the big difference between mass airflow sensor and carb cleaner. So if it's application-based products. If you are cleaning something that has a lot of plastic on it, a mass airflow sensor cleaner, something formulated to protect plastic or to not attack plastic, petroleum-based parts, is going to be a lot more stable. It's going to do just as good of a job at taking gunk off, taking grease off. It's not going to harm those plastic parts the way that. Oh yeah, that's getting soft. Yeah, there we go.
Let me poke it.
No.
Oh, there it goes.
It's way ahead of you.
To poke it.
Yeah, so
there it goes.
There goes the carb cleaner. Oh,
and there goes your math.
Full spillage. So that's the difference right there. So there is this weekend's tech. Everybody wanted a little tech demonstration on what's the CRC stuff do. Now I technically could chug this mass airflow cleaner and I'd be fine, but
we won't do that.
No, we won't do that at all. Well, Mark was the guy in the rock band, so he probably could.
I could do it. Light on fire and then I'll chug it.
Fine. So there you go. There is our request for some CRC science. There is a fine example of how science works for you. Difference between carb cleaner and mass airflow cleaner. Let us next go to our weekly tech tip from our friends at Coney Shocks. Chris, if you will accompany me around again to the magic production box. This is actually so. Get a shot of this, Chris, because this impresses the hell out of me. This is where the entire show comes from, right here. This is our mobile command center for the entirety of Grassroots Motorsports Live. I'm now going to get the this week's Coney video queued up. I will see you guys in 5 minutes. We will be installing the final arm on our Corvette right after this tech tip from our friends at Coney.
Hello, I'm Lee Grimes with Coney North America. Coney shock absorbers have long been an industry leader in adjustable suspension technology, starting in 1945 with our first adjustable dampers. Most Coney products are designed to be user adjustable for tuning to your preferred ride and handling, to match with your car's performance upgrades, and to compensate for wear over extended periods of time. In the next few minutes, I will explain the proper procedures for adjustment so that you can get the most benefit from your Coney shock absorbers. Most external adjustments are made by placing the Coney knob on an adjuster tab under the hood or in the back of your vehicle. Place the slot in the bottom of the knob over the adjuster tab. Turn the knob counterclockwise to make the damper firmer and make more rebound damping force. Turn the knob clockwise to make the damper softer and make less rebound damping force. The adjuster knob will stop turning at the full soft and full firm position. Do not force the adjuster. If you plan to keep your Coney dampers adjusted to the maximum or minimum setting, it's a good idea to turn the adjuster back a small amount from the full stop, perhaps a 1/16 of a turn, just a little bit to avoid jamming the adjuster. Another type of external adjuster is the sweep window. It's used on certain vehicles when an adjuster tab will not work. Inside the window is a disc with a number of holes. Place the end of a pin, pick, or similar tool into a hole in the window. On a shock that is mounted upright with the adjuster window on top, sweeping the pin from the left to the right will make the damper firmer and make more rebound damping force. Sweeping the pin from the right to the left will make the damper softer and make less rebound damping force. If the shock absorber is mounted upside down on the vehicle, such that the adjuster window is on the bottom, sweep it from right to left for firmer, left to right for softer. Some Coney monotube high-pressure gas charge dampers adjust with a button next to where the chrome rod goes into the body. Remove the plastic protective cap from the end of the shock by pulling or prying to reveal the adjuster button. With the damper fully extended, use your fingertip or a small tool to depress the button while turning the piston rod in orientation to the shock body. You will feel the adjuster button's internal pin drop down into position when it is engaged. Once engaged, turn the piston rod clockwise for firmer and to make more rebound damping force. Turn the piston rod counterclockwise to make the shock softer and make less rebound damping force. Button-type rebound adjustable shocks have 4 adjustment positions, so you will feel 3 distinct clicks when going from one position to another. Once you have made your adjustment, compress the piston rod just slightly to make sure that the button pops out and disengages the adjuster. Internally adjustable dampers must be adjusted prior to installation on the car, or they must be removed from the vehicle to be adjusted. To adjust an internally adjustable damper, compress the damper fully by hand while keeping it generally upright until you feel the damper bottom lightly internally. From that point, while holding the damper body in place, slowly turn the piston rod either clockwise or counterclockwise. Within about 1/2 a turn or less, you will feel the piston rod drop slowly down as the internal adjuster engages. Once the adjuster is engaged, turn the piston rod clockwise for firmer and to make more rebound damping force. Turn the piston rod counterclockwise to make the damper softer and make less rebound damping force. If the damper has a nitrogen gas charge inside, it will be pushing the piston rod upwards, so steady downward force is needed to keep the internal adjuster engaged. When the internal adjuster is engaged, be careful not to force or jam the adjuster mechanism, or you can cause internal damage. Some Coney performance shocks are double adjustable or independently adjust rebound and compression damping. To adjust compression, place a straight blade screwdriver in the adjuster slot near the bottom of the damper. Turn the adjuster clockwise to make the shock firmer and make more compression damping force. Turn the adjuster counterclockwise to make the shock softer and make less compression damping force. There are 12 distinct clicks in the compression adjuster. If you have questions regarding Koni adjustment or other aspects of Koni shock absorbers, please visit our website, koni.com, for your local contact information. Koni technical specialists are available to answer your questions by email and telephone. Thank you for your time and interest in Koni shock absorber.
Okay. Lee Grimes, everybody. We are so proud to have Koni as a supporter of this show. They are fantastic people. Anybody who's seen Lee Grimes on this show before knows what great folks they are. So we are honored to have them aboard. Also, one final shout out to our friends at Autobooks Aerobooks. You can check them out at autobooks-aerobooks.com. We got David. What book do we have tonight from Autobooks that we are featuring? I've completely forgotten, but I'm sure it was something amazing. Folks, if you go to Burbank, California, you can visit Autobooks Aerobooks, as some of our viewers actually did last week. We were very impressed to see our friend Angela out there paying a visit to Autobooks. It is one of the coolest places you will ever visit in your entire automotive life. If you cannot make it out to Burbank, California, then you can check them out at autobooks-aerobooks.com for books, magazines, videos, collectibles. Tens of thousands of books available right there in the store or on their website. Also, signed copies by authors, special editions, very, very cool stuff. And if you do have the chance to get out there, any day you go there, there's probably going to be something going on. They have book signings, they have cruise-ins, they have cars and coffee events. Jay Leno is there every day of the week practically. So it's a very cool place to hang out. We're very, very happy to have them aboard, and we're very happy to have our folks going to visit them. All right, we're going to get our hands dirty here in just a second, getting this final arm on. I got a few questions that we have not dealt with yet. We'll get to those. But before we do that, very cool stuff going on tonight. Going to be giving away free GRM stickers, free CRC stuff in just a second. And Mark also has a discount code for anybody that wants to place an order from AMT Motorsports. Any of you Corvette guys out there, like 15%, right?
15%.
Let them know.
It's a huge sale. Go to the website, type in code GRM Live. That'll get you 15% off anything we make for until tomorrow. Watch the show, pop it in, because the code goes away fast. We don't run many big sales, JG, but that's a big one.
Having a side hustle that involves low volume manufacturing,
Yeah.
I feel your pain.
Exactly.
And that is any discount I know comes right from here.
Right.
and right from
out of
here.
my pocket, believe me.
All right, so let's get to a few of these questions. Okay, let's talk about advantages of going to a spherical bearing versus a rubber bushing. So, Rick, I don't know if you saw our demonstration at the top of the show, but the first advantage is you're going to lose the massive deflection that comes from having these rubber bushings here. I mean, look, I'm putting a very small amount of force on that, and we're getting a lot of deflection from that rubber bushing. Talk about some of the other factors we're looking at there. Like we're constraining our motion to fewer directions.
Yeah, I mean, and again, the example you're seeing there, it's just that amplified times God knows what. Again, 3,000 pounds, a G of force in the lateral at the least. I find that switching to the monoball bushings is the biggest thing that makes your car handle like a go-kart. Everyone talks about that go-kart handling. When you got the rubber bushings in there, the car, if the back end steps away on you, it gets out of shape, and it takes a long time to come back because you're waiting for that bearing, that rubber bushing to compress and get sorted again. But when there's metal bushings in there, there's zero deflection. It just boom, you're right back on it. So I find it much easier to drive a car at a limit with monoball bushings because there's no numbness. It's all such direct feedback all the time.
Okay, let's talk about the rear lower shock mounts a little bit, because we had you and I and our friend Alex had some discussions earlier last week about the deflection of those rears. So Chris, let's go around and take a look at these rear lowers, because you offer a couple of options for these actually. So the bushing in question here. Actually, let me bring the car up a little bit, Chris, so you can get under there a little bit better.
Get in there, Chris.
Okay, so here's the bushing in question. It's the bushing that the lower shock mount ear bolts onto. You provided us with Delrin ones. You also do a monoball insert for that. Talk about a little bit about the differences we're going to see with the Delrin versus a monoball insert.
You're not going to feel any difference. So I mean, the thing about Delrin, and people do use a lot of Delrin upper control arm bushings, is that it feels like a monoball, and it's you know, it's hard. It doesn't isolate, doesn't compress at all like a rubber bushing. The thing is, they kind of wear out after a while because nothing's spinning in that bearing. So if you got a bolt that's kind of wearing in there, your holes become ovular, if you will. They're not round anymore, so you can get some clunking going on. So Delrin just isn't going to seem to last as long as a monoball bushing. I don't. Most of the time, I push people towards a Delrin bushing on the bottom because one, we charge a hell of a lot less for it. If we were to do a monoball in there, it would cost you $350. The Delrin will do for 140, and you know, just isolating that shock vibration so much is, you know, the Delrin does a fine job of that. So that's what I use on my car, on my race car, and we've had zero ill effects.
So out of the box, performance-wise, you're probably looking at a similar level of performance, maybe monoball versus Delrin, but long term, you're going to be getting a lot more durability from the monoball.
Somebody who's got a super fine-tuned rear end might be able to drive a car and tell you the difference between a monoball and a Delrin, but I don't know that I could personally. Longevity is certainly the key in going to the monoball.
Mine is not tuned that well. I'm really looking forward to getting this thing on autocross course this weekend. Okay, let's see if we're caught up on our questions here. I think that will just about catch us up on our questions. Steve wanted a link to the forum post mentioned about the seats. Scroll up a little bit. It's in the chat up there. We can throw it in there again for you, but it's a very informative thread. All right, so we're gonna start bolting this baby back together. Before we do that though, free stickers, folks. If you signed up last week to get some free stickers, they should be coming in the mail any day now. We gave away a lot more than I expected. You definitely called my bluff on the whole free sticker thing, and hopefully you do it again this week. If you go to grassrootsmotorsports.com/free stickers, we will send you 2 Grassroots Motorsports stickers in the mail. Don't have to do anything. All you gotta do is give us your address, where we're gonna send these things, and we'll send you 2 stickers on our nickel. We pay for the stickers, we pay for the postage. You get 2 free stickers just for watching the show because we appreciate it that much. Just give them a good home. Put them someplace where people are gonna see them. Let folks know you're supporting the show, you're enjoying it, and that's all we want. So thank you very much for requesting the free stickers. And one of your customers, Eric Yao, is on the line there, professing his love for the AMT monoball kit. Yeah, man, I am excited.
It's gonna blow your mind.
All right, so let's get to bolting this lower arm back on. Before we do that, let's take a look at what's going on the uppers here. You also sent us this stud kit.
Yep.
That replaces the stock bolts that essentially bolt the upper control arms on there. I learned the hard way why that stud kit is necessary.
Exactly.
So why don't you give us the short version of why that stud kit?
Well, you can see that JG here is using shims to adjust his camber and caster. So if that's, you know, it's a very logical and reasonable way to adjust alignment settings. But if you're doing that all the time, you're twisting and untwisting the stock bolts that come there. There's just a cheesy little frame insert that goes in there. You can wear out the threads. If you're JG, you'd actually tear that freaking thing right out of the frame. So we just replace them with these studs. The studs go in there. There's a nut and washer that goes over the top of it. So now you can adjust at your heart's content without putting any extra wear on the frame.
Yeah, you're never putting any more strain. It's just a tack welded nut insert in there. Yep. So you're not putting any additional strain on it. You also may have noticed that there are coilovers on this Corvette. That is a set of RideTech triple adjustable coilovers. We're going to be doing a full show on those in the future. Basically, we're not doing much with those yet because I want some time with them. I want to spend some time driving with them, getting used to them, feeling what they feel like, so I can talk about them intelligently. But it is I can tell you it's a very well thought out kit from an installation perspective if you follow the instructions, and it's it's not out of the realm of an average mechanic to install it, and it is very, very high quality gear. Their RideTech shocks are manufactured by Fox, who certainly has a ton of experience in the shock game, everything from motorcycles to off-road sports cars and round cars. So very excited about trying out coil springs on a car that originally came with Leafs. All right, let us set to work here, getting this thing together. Here is our arm.
It's the old one, sir.
Oh, it is?
Yeah,
oh,
you want to put that one back on.
No, I don't want to put that one back on. There is our new arm.
So I have the honors. Who wants to do the honors?
Tell you what, I will.
I'll man the bolts.
You man the bolts. We'll show you how this camber kit goes in, and I will show everybody how easily this slips up in there, thanks to the fact that you have Corvette cradles in your shop that you test fit all of these on. Do you want a little more height here, Mark? Because
more height would be good.
I got it set for me.
Can hurt my back under there.
So here's the thing that really impressed me about these is when you slide these in place, they
more or less.
Yeah.
It'll take a little bit of finagling, but yeah, there they are.
But not nearly as much as the stock pieces do.
Okay, let me get you up in here with our camber bolt. So again, these things are all laser marked and engraved, so you know exactly where we left them. So JG's running what would be a setting of T2 on these camber plates. Slap them back in T2. No alignment settings have changed, and they're never going to move on you again. Easy peasy. Finger tight's all you need on these.
They're fine.
Don't worry about torquing them.
And the hardware is all nice 10.9 stuff, it looks like. Any comments on the hardware? Did you have to go through any process to audition different pieces of the hardware? I mean, you're in the aerospace industry, so
yeah, no, we have suppliers that we use.
You know where to get the good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if you buy it in bulk, it's not absurdly priced, but I mean, 10.9 is what the car comes with, so that's what we want to put back on it.
So somebody actually asked earlier when we talk about aerospace grade parts, we keep using that word.
It's overused.
Well,
I said it. Yes.
It's overused, but what is the difference between a good bushing and a crappy bushing in
bearing? Yeah. Well,
bearing, yeah.
So the bearings that we buy from this company called Radial. Again, they're all made in Connecticut. When I say aerospace grade, it means that all the materials are certified to go in aerospace. They have to do special rigorous testings on those bearings specifically for use in whatever aerospace application they're using. Yeah, you can buy the same sized bearing from some Chinese company for about a third what I pay for those things, but they're just not built to the same high quality standards as would be required by the aerospace industry. So that's why they're aerospace grade. But yeah, when you read advertisements, aerospace grade aluminum, that just means 6061 aluminum. It's just a buzzword, so I don't tend to throw it around unless I can stand by it.
And you sent me an email the other day. You actually do have some parts going into space.
Yeah, yeah. We got space shuttle parts going up there.
All right, so I'm going to hand you the nut, and I will slide this thing up into position. We get our ball joint up in there. This is a set of How Racing ball joints. These were actually. You want to switch sides here?
Yeah, I do. Sorry.
These are recommended to us by our friend Alex Zortzis. So Alex, we took your recommendations, got some of these How ball joints, and very excited to see how they work out. They don't have much of a dust boot on them. We actually got the optional dust boots, but I wouldn't say they're.
There's sort of this float there.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's the best part of them, but.
Oh wait, buddy. Oh wait.
Stupid power tools. But quality-wise, they really seem to be nice, and they're rebuildable, which I like quite a bit. So you can actually there's a snap ring down here and a little nut. You can actually pull the whole ball assembly out of there. Let me make sure I'm set to tighten here. shorter socket. It may have occurred to everybody that I really have no idea what I'm doing.
Just winging it.
Yeah.
Just winging it all the time.
Yet people still watch the show. I think what they're really waiting for is
Something bad.
yeah, just some sort of disfiguring injury. Let me find the cotter pin hole on that. Hold that for a second.
See it? They're blinding you.
Oh, right in the back there. I'll let you do the honor.
Oh, great. Where's that bad boy? Oh, there she is. Oh, come on. We need another eighth of a turn there.
Do you?
Maybe not.
No, we need a smaller cotter pin is what we need.
I just grabbed this. Is this not the right one?
That's the right one.
Seriously, I need another, like,
Here.
a smidge. Yes, a scotch, as we say in the trade.
So as a professional machinist, what is the difference between a smidge and a scotch?
I use the terms interchangeably. They're both the same. Smidge and a scotch. There we go. That was about a scotch. Bada bing.
Brilliant, like it was designed for.
Bada bing. Bend that thing up with some bendy tool. The bendy implement.
High quality bendy implement.
There she is. Boom.
What's next?
Muscle up the control arm so we can get that thing in there.
Yeah, no, we have mechanical devices.
Do we need them?
Yeah.
We don't need them. I got them.
Okay.
I got them. I'm here for you. Boosh. Wait a minute. I got your sway bar end link in there. Is that not what you wanted?
Oh no, I was doing the shocks. We are going to have to probably get our little lifty deal for the shock bolts.
I'm gonna take that in the teeth.
Would not be the first time. See, the problem is I keep having people taller than me on the show.
I'm sorry.
Well,
maybe I should get in there.
it's actually a condition that describes most people, so don't feel bad.
Got that. Did it back you into a corner with the swing?
No, I can't find the hole. Reminds me of my wedding night. Hey!
Hey-o. Zing!
There we go.
There she is.
Oh, you're handing me the other one.
Yeah, I don't want to get involved with that.
You don't want to be the guy that.
I don't want to get involved with that.
Bingo.
Good to go.
You put those on. I'll check for questions.
Oh, come on, JG.
All right, so Dinesh wants to know. Do you really want to know this? He wants to know what the monoball bushings weigh versus the stock bushings. It's going to be really close.
It's close. I have not weighed a pile of rubber bushings to see. I'm not gonna lie, it's a little bit heavier, but certainly the performance benefits outweigh the extra 4 or 5 pounds that it might be.
It's not going to be 4 or 5 pounds.
No,
it's going to be half a pound.
And not that, the weight's all really low. I don't know. People freak out.
I mean, it's the difference between a single cheeseburger and a double cheeseburger before the race, basically. So Jay wants to know aerospace grade. Yeah, I mean everything is aerospace grade. As we discussed earlier, that's kind of a amorphous term, but
right.
You're buying high quality stuff sourced from one state over, so it's U.S. stuff.
Exactly.
I mean this is the same stuff you are using to go on stuff you're building for the space program.
Yep. All these, we do a lot of military work, and all the materials that we use are all the same stuff that's going in the tanks that we're working on, or whatever it might be. U.S. military, please, please, JG. U.S. military only.
None of these freelance mercenary squads. Okay, tell you what, why don't you get the sway bar end link? It's a 19, and I will get these camber bolts. And we will be done.
You didn't like my finger tight camber bolts?
I trust you.
I got super strong fingers.
By the way, if you've never gotten to experience the glory that is Nordlocks before,
Oh, come on.
dude, I love it. So I learned their value the hard way. Basically, losing a trophy at the Solo Nationals because I had a split lock washer in a critical fastener point, and I will always spend the extra.
You trust your life to Nordlocks now.
The extra buck or two, or if there's another name brand of ramp style fasteners.
I think Nordlock is.
I think they got it, but yeah, they have my money and my trust. All we gotta do is bolt up our reservoir and we're done. So that's it. That's how easy it is to install a lower control arm on a C5 Corvette. Made especially easy by the fact that your bushings just slide right the heck in there.
Make them fit.
We will take a look for any final questions. Anthony says nothing like watching wrench to face contact on a slip. Yeah, it's coming. If you look, all I'm saying is watch the show every week. You will see me bleeding and or crying at some point for one reason or another. Hey, what a great show we had tonight. We actually got something accomplished. We learned a lot. Thank you very much to all the folks that support this show directly. I'm talking about CRC Industries. You can check them out at crcindustries.com. All of your automotive chemical needs. We saw the difference between carb cleaner and mass airflow cleaner a little bit earlier. Always a demonstration that I love to show people because in these modern times we're using a lot of alternative materials and you need to know what you're spraying on your car. You need to know what it's going to do to your car when you are using this stuff. Thanks also to Coney Shocks. Saw another tech tip from Coney. Check them out at coney-na.com. I think they still have a sale going on. You can get like $70 off of a set of 4 shocks. If you check them out, we'll have tech tips from them every week. Thank you very much to our friends at Autobooks Aerobooks. You can check them out at autobooks-aerobooks.com, of course, the best bookstore in the entire world, located right there in Burbank, California. Thanks to some of our viewers for checking the place out last week. I hope you had a good time. Hope you spent a couple of bucks there, and hope you were as impressed as we are every time we check the place out. Thank you very much to Mark from AMT, man.
Happy to be here, buddy. Thank you for having us.
Incredibly impressed with all of this stuff. I love. We didn't even look at the motor mounts.
Oh yeah!
For the love of God, there's just more cool stuff coming out of boxes, and again. Everything, if you go to AMTmotorsports.com, AMT Motorsport,
Motorsport.
Motorsport.com, you will see that there are a lot of incredibly elegant solutions to simple problems that Mark and his team have designed, and it's very impressive. Like these simple motor mounts, C5 motor mounts, notoriously fragile.
They're going to explode on you eventually.
They're going to. Broken motor mounts can lead to other driveline failures. They can lead to cradle failure, can lead to all kinds of stuff. So you guys do these machined aluminum.
You got rubber in the center, isolate the dampen the vibrations, and keep everything pretty solid.
And lifetime warranty on these as well.
Of course.
Yeah. So
of course.
You know, it's nice doing business with somebody that's going to stand behind their products, and again, nice doing business with somebody that is solving these problems in incredibly elegant and creatively beautiful ways. I am a sucker for good design, and this stuff is just amazing. So 15% discount on all of Mark's stuff.
GRM Live.
Use the code GRM Live at amtmotorsport.com. We'll throw that up in the chat one more time, and we will check one more time here for any questions that we may have missed. Dinesh wants to know, will the Vette be at the Daytona Showcase next month? That is the plan. I am planning on being there, maybe even giving some joy rides out in the right seat to folks at the Daytona Showcase Autocross. There is a big national road race, autocross, rallycross coming up at Daytona International Speedway, presented by the Central Florida Region SCCA, May 4th and 5th, whatever that first weekend of May is. It is 5th and 6th? 5th and 6th and 7th. May 6th and 7th. The first weekend, the first full weekend of May. It's very cool. We did one last year. It is basically all of the SCCA in one place on one weekend. You can come out, you can take rides in race cars, you can take rides in autocross cars, you can participate in the events going on, or you can just watch, hang out, and talk to people. And it doesn't cost much of anything to get in. There's a couple of bucks just to kind of cover the insurance, and that's about it. So just Daytona International Speedway if you're around here. And we'll be out there one way or another. Hopefully the big blue ape will be out there as well. And we'll see all you guys out there. So
winning, you'll be winning.
Darn right we will, with our brand new AMT Motorsports parts all in place. The camber bolts are, man. All right. Oh, it's free to spectate. So awesome. And another Ollie is using your motor mounts on his spec Corvette. A lot of spec Corvette guys.
Spec Corvette's a new big thing. Everyone check it out.
Yeah, and
I'm gonna get involved.
If anybody's going to know what's going to break on a Corvette, it's going to be the NASA spec Corvette guys. All right, folks, that's what we around here call a show. Thank you very much for being here once again. Free stickers, 2 free Grassroots Motorsports stickers. Go to grassrootsmotorsports.com/free stickers. We'll give you a couple of stickers just for being fans. We really appreciate it. I will be at the Optima Drive Auto X this weekend in Charlotte. Plan is to provide some live coverage. Definitely provide some taped coverage later, doing some car features. Live coverage is obviously going to depend on if we have bandwidth and if we have the right setup, but we will definitely be giving you guys as much of a look at that event as we can. First one ever, so we're very excited about that. First time I'm going to be on an autocross course. New stuff on here, so it's going to be appropriate for working behind the scenes tonight, as always, doing a great job. Thanks to Mark once again. Thanks to all of you for watching. I'm JG Pasterjack. This is GRM Live, presented by CRC Industries. We will see you again next week, everybody. Good night. Tripping over my own show here.
Yes.